What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Social Media Mindset. And, I get to interview a lot of people, and a lot of the people now I don't necessarily know. This man, I have an actual relationship. I call him a friend. And guys, you need to pay attention because he is crushing every aspect of social media. When I text him to come on the show, I had to be like, am I still at your level? Like, if you pass me by, am I still cool enough for us to hang out? And so I know him as Brian because I knew him before he was the Dallas mortgage man. That is what you will see him as on TikTok, where you are approaching 80,000 followers. That's kind of a big deal. Almost 500,000 likes. Bro, you've always just been an incredible lender, but now, man, your evolution into an actual brand ambassador and being out in front of people is incredible. And so, bro, welcome to the show.
Appreciate you having me. That's quite the intro. Thank you for that. For those that don't know Kyle, follow him kind of stuff here. Kyle is one of the nicest guys I've ever met. We were introed through a friend named Melanie. We did a little lunch and learn with some agents, and then he and I just connected and just felt the fact that, hey, good dude, Christian man, family man, like-minded in all areas, but we hit it off in the business aspect as well. And it's been his video side, my video side. We watched each other. So now we're here.
And now we're here. And so we were talking off air before we hit record that it's unbelievable, like how many people are just so unwilling still to jump into this pool.
Yep.
Right. To get in front of the camera, to be present online, to tell stories, to educate, to equip. And I wanted to go back because obviously you've been in mortgages how long now?
17 years.
17 years. So you didn't quite outdate the internet, but it wasn't it wasn't what it is today 17 years ago. Right. And so, bro, I want to know, like, what was the year, what was the moment when, you were probably more old school in your approach because that was the industry. And you just had this so-called woke moment of like, whoa, this internet thing is for real. This video thing is for real. Like, when was that? And can you kind of talk us through that story?
Yeah, man. So let me think about this. I'm going to answer this in two ways. Okay. So the way that I saw the power of the internet and a person being that influencer position online is I ran across Gary Vee in like 17, 18.
Okay.
And I thought, man, this guy is very powerful. He's everywhere all the time. It's probably pretty good to be the eyeballs everywhere because, you just can't unsee him. So that was the first, like, wow, the presence online is everywhere. He's way ahead of the competition. For me personally, after that, when I got into coaching into the core, my first coach, Lisa Wells, shout out to Lisa. They're always adding some small stuff here and there. And she was great at video and mentioned like, hey, you go on the phone, blah, 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 but you should, shoot a couple videos, work on your database, like get it going, right? So she was the one that first actually forced my hand, pulled the idea out of my head and said, let's implement and just slow roll. So that was kind of, let's just call it mid to back half of 18-ish where I started.
Okay. So when you started, was it mainly you were recording like private videos that you were sending to clients, updating them on the process? Is that kind of what it looked like?
You got it. So the baseline was, I've got a database. I've got realtors, business partners, pre-approved clients, past clients, and whatever. And it started with hey, just get your phone on a tripod, get a message. Here's where rates are at, just generic stuff or whatever. And then shoot it through BombBomb Co-Video, edit it, add it to an email and just drop it, right? That was the start of just not perfection, progress, but get it in your system, learn it, watch the ROI on the back end, and we'll build on it. That's how it began.
So that is probably the one part I would say, even the lenders and realtors that aren't willing to do what you and I do, which is like be in front of the camera all the time. We are seeing a lot more that are willing to do the behind the scenes camera work, which is good. And so when when did that transition happen from, okay, man, I can't just be on video to my clients. I've got to be forward facing. I've got to be seen as an expert of this industry. I've got to be the Dallas mortgage man.
Mm-hmm. So
What'd that
one of
look
the
like?
things I've always had inside of me was like our industry, whether it's the agent side or the lender side, is just behind in the times, and I want a better experience and I want a better platform for the clients and for the partners. And so I've always wanted to do something to say like, man, I wish I could, create almost like a movie of like, how they show like Wall Street movies and things here and there. Like there's a fun side, there's more value to the home loan side. You never see people hustling, having conversation, things here and there. And so I wanted to show that to the public and say like, there's a cooler, better way. You can share the secrets with people and you can build the trust. So I started the basic videos, one, because everybody, even to this day, people get uncomfortable how their nose looks or whatever, blah, 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 right? So you get past that. And then what starts to happen is you get evidence of success. So you start to realize like, wow, video is really giving me something on the back end. The client says, great message, I appreciate it, blah, 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 right? So you have that testimony of like, okay, and then people do it. So it says, huh. And then it just clicks one piece up. And so you start pushing more and more and more. Then it was to your point, well, I just don't want to tell past clients what's going on with the market. I want to shoot a video how I can educate realtors on how to generate leads. So let me just step out in front and say like, all right, I'm going to take my tripod in the boardroom and then say, hey, by the way, whatever, and pop that one. And then it was like, okay, let me move it to, at that time, probably Facebook. And then you just start making moves. And then for me as an idea guy and a grower, I put on a list all these wonderful things that I think people would love that are hot topics, meaning they get value out of them and they feel like they've cracked the code and it improves their quality of life or business or whatever. And so let me get all these topics, knowing that if they like it when I talk to them on the phone and they like it when I'm at a happy hour, they're going to like it on the video because it's valuable. I just got to find a way to get it to them faster and better. So let me go shoot all the videos and just try. And that was my first, like, what I call it round one. I'm kind of on round 4 now, right? And every year's a round. Round one's like, all right, that was good, but I'm gonna do this. Round 2, 3, 4. So that was my progression of like seeing Gary Vee, having my coach push me, having some people respond back like, woo, and then saying like, I want to do more because I see the opportunity. And then, it developed itself. And I think when people like you and me understand, like, dude, when people understand the ROI on video, they will treat it like a business, straight up.
Yeah.
When people also realize, because every lender's so busy and every agent's so busy, right? And it's fine. Sure. I get it. I was there too. And I'm busy now, sometimes too, here and there. But what video actually does, not only does it make you time, it compounds your time.
Preach.
And so people understand like, dude, you can move through things faster if you understand it, but you have to get started, see the evidence and realize how it works for you before it really builds in your heart and you treat it like you do and I do, and then you'll never go backwards.
Yeah, man. And I love to tell people, like, while you and I are doing this recording, we're not out there lead genning. We're not like, we're right here. I'm giving you 100% of my attention. I'm not looking at my phone, answering text messages. You're giving me 100% of your attention. But while we're doing this, we're getting views on TikTok. People are watching our YouTube videos. People are commenting, right? You're recording content right now as we're doing this. And so what I don't think people understand is that, like, I have a minion army of Kyle Drapers out there that are always fighting on my behalf to serve this community, as do you, so that I get to wake up in the morning to a lead. Most LOs, most realtors, they can never say that.
Yes, I agree. The second piece to that is, so I've said this before, and I'll tell people who haven't seen it, like in our business, from a referral standpoint, people work with you because they like you and they trust you. But normally if a realtor's referring me, like they have to say, work with Brian, he's my guy, I trust him, trust me, he's great, right? The difference with video is you and I have created, if I say, hey, Kyle is my quarterback, he's the best in the country, how come? Trust me. Or I can say, watch this touchdown pass, watch him run this 40. So it becomes a human highlight reel. Right. For people to go, oh my gosh. So whenever we have all this stuff outside of me doing my thing, right? So when I go to my email on Outlook, at the very bottom of the link, it says follow to become a fan. So everybody that I email, they click there, it goes to my link tree, and they can go to YouTube and Wallet Watch, blah, 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 whatever. And they can just creep and be like, dude, this dude's on fire. He's educating, he's smart, he's helping families, he's sharp, blah, 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 blah. So it's a virtual humble brag without doing it, but also I want to edify the realtor and I want to make the client feel good. So it's one thing for somebody to tell them, hey, this person's here and there, but you can create that so people are looking and they're already into it. And then two, against my competition, no one's doing anything close. So they're already, the expectation's already there. So if they go talk to a Quicken or whoever, whatever, blah, 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 like the gap is already created and the realtor doesn't have to pitch it so hard. And even if they do, when those people click, it validates what they're saying. So it doesn't all have to glue on the word. So
I remember like sitting in your office, you know, you called it rounds, right? You're in round 4. I remember sitting in your office talking about you're in the middle of recording round 1 and you showed me a couple of the videos and bro, like just your presence, right? If we go compare your last TikTok video or the one that has 1.2 million views all the way back to 4 years ago.
Oh yeah.
And that content you did in your office.
Yeah.
You're a different person.
Sure.
Right. Talk to people about like, I mean, there's a million things we can talk about. Talk about one, just that confidence comes in starting, but then talk through that progression of like, what was it that helped you grow in your confidence so that now, I mean, you could pound out 10 TikToks in a day because that's the evolution, because most people are just so afraid to start or they're super boring. They're lame. Nobody's going to care. You know, talk us through some of that.
Yeah. So the confidence piece, right? I mean, anybody that's actually skilled at their craft is confident in what they do. So if you hit a golf ball, if you do home loans, if you deliver babies, right? If you know what you're actually doing, you're confident in your skill set, that you're a real professional, high-level expert or whatever, you're able to deliver, right? So when you are able to deliver valuable stuff to the outside world from a knowledge standpoint, it's always helpful, okay?
Yeah.
But sometimes people are super smart, but they're not good on camera, so the optics aren't great. So for everybody watching, I stutter in general. I still stutter. I have problems on camera all the time. When I shoot my YouTube long forms, I stop, edit here and there. I will tell you that's part of it. There is not one person out there that just one take Drake every single time, blah, blah, blah. It's part of it is stumbling, and that's okay. So when you build that into the mentality of like, dude, your nose is going to look funky. You're not going to like your part. You're going to hate your voice, that's only you. The mindset is like just progress, not perfection. And then what happens is when you get over your own stuff, and there are some people out there that have to shoot it 20, 30 times, whatever you got to do to launch it, right?
Yeah.
Don't overdo it. People care more about what you're saying and delivering versus like how perfect your shirt is or collar or whatever. This is just us being human beings, the way we actually think. So I would say like, just find your comfort zone of where you're cool. If that's at your house, if it's at the office, in the backyard, find a peaceful place in your mind that you're cool with it, and just pop a few and delete it if you don't like it here and there, but don't let it stop you. Pick 2 or 3 or 4 topics that you like, that you're cool about, and you can just hit some nuggets and get it all rocking, and just shoot a couple and then do your best and drop it, let it roll. You'll see, number one, no one says like, oh, dude, that was great information about the FICO score, but you had a booger in your nose. I'd call you, but I wouldn't. No one says that. It's just us, right? And then what'll happen is you'll lose that as you deliver stuff and people start to pull on your valuable content, not your hairstyle or whatever, or your manicured beard or whatever here and there. And then that in itself builds confidence within you. And then you have a client says, hey, I saw this and blah, blah, blah. And then it's just a compounding effect of building, blah, 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 blah. So that's the first part, which is like, dude, everybody messes up. Everybody screws up. It's part of it. So if you know, like, just because your stuff looks great in mine, and sometimes I hit it good and sometimes I don't, but like, you just have to run your own race, but you cannot stand still. You must go forward.
So good. And how, do you feel, because now, right, you're approaching 80,000 followers on TikTok, which is amazing, right? Like, I mean, it's unbelievable.
I started early. I got lucky because before TikTok was on the wave, I caught it 3 or 4 months early. no mortgage guy, blah, 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 whatever. So I caught at the beginning, which is where you see the million, blah, blah, blah. Now it's harder to get. I got to push harder, do more stuff here. Like everything else, it grows up and it gets crowded. But no matter what, how crowded it is, you still got to stay in the mosh pit, in the mix, popping, popping, popping.
Well, and luckily, you know, yes, TikTok's not as easy as it was when you started, but it's still the best platform for getting that reach.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is like, because we could sit here and go, man, I wish we would have done YouTube 10 years ago, right? Like if we could have hit that. The bottom line is there's going to be a next platform. And so all the practice we're putting in now is going to make us even better at being an early adopter of whatever the next thing is, right? And so the bottom line is somebody's got to just go start.
Right. But even if that's the case and something sneaks up on us in 12 months, like a Snapchat 2.0, we're like, oh, I don't really know, blah, blah, blah. You're going to learn it. But if you have other platforms, you can point them and say, go to my new one, blah, 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 and you pick up faster.
Right.
And sometimes I feel like, you know, lenders or agents, it's either one of two things. They have bad leaders that don't get it, so they're not dripping on them with the idea all the time.
Right.
Or they just feel like, oh man, I missed the train. I'm like, no, you didn't miss the train. The competition from an agent lender standpoint, for the most part, is really, really weak. It's very stagnant and stale. It still has a ton of opportunity. You can get in the space quick, and you can get it rolling. And that's what I want people to do, is like, think about it like a game show. The game show is like, how quick can I make it happen to blow up in 6 months, blah, blah, blah. If I dropped $1 million cash and said, y'all go do it, and whoever gets the most views and followers and leads and blah, blah, blah gets $1 million cash. Every agent be like, hey, what's up? Lender like, hey, what's up? Da, da, da. The truth is that's already there. It's just the $1 million triggers their mind to go harder. So in theory, they should just go harder to begin with here and there. And that payoff, short-term and long-term, is there. They just got to get rolling.
That's so true. How do you decide? Because I know you do content that's directed at the consumer, but then you also do a lot of content directed directly at the real estate community. And then I think I've even seen content from you just kind of calling the mortgage side of the industry to be better. So do you intentionally speak to kind of all three sides of the industry? Is there one that you focus on more? Like, how do you kind of decide what that looks like?
Excellent question. So for me, what I do is I have a Microsoft Word document and I brain dump. I brain dump into categories like, hey, I feel like the consumer needs to know these 20 things. I feel like the realtor, whatever, hot topics, blah, blah, blah. So I things that I feel that in my past pre-video, everyone loves a trick on how to do a pay for delete on a medical collection. Everyone wants their credit, how to do a tax return, blah, 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 how to generate a lead, how to call a divorce attorney, how to do this, blah, blah, blah. So I've taken what I've done in the past that realtors love and consumers love, and I just spun it to the new school version of it, which is, yes, I'm still on the phone, or I meet people in a boardroom, but really I can pop it out online and get it done. So I use my evidence in the past, plus things that I feel now like, yeah, I want to speak on that. And then I kind of evolve them once a month based on like, rates popping up, like hot topics and real-time stuff. Or sometimes I'll be online and I'll just see you or a mortgage person or somebody say this, and it triggers like, that's a good topic. Let me add it to the list, put my spin on it, one or two things in there and pop it. So I have this rotating list of like consumer, realtor, business partner, motivation type deal. And it's just a cycle that I build on all the time. And then I decide, a lot of my content is scheduled, some of it, meaning like I'll stop and go shoot it on a Thursday. I'll come in early in the morning and shoot 2 YouTubes, blah, blah, blah. Some of it's around with the kids as well, or, with Hunter and his friends or Heather or whatever. So I just think when it comes to that stuff, people have to find their rhythm on the camera, but also like, oh, I shot 2 and I'm not really sure and I don't know what to do anymore. I'm like, and this is funny because I've been saying this for a while to agents to make sure that they won't have an excuse. I'm like, just go follow me everywhere and start from the bottom. And you're going to have 300 videos and all you have to do is shoot it from your own deal. Here's the pros and cons of buying a condo versus a house. Right. It's funny because literally there's 4 or 5 agents out there and I won't call them out if you don't. Their whole game as they're talking, I'm like, and they're just taking it, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with. It's cool. Right. But they're never going to run out of ideas in this day and age because it's all there. They just have to find their zone, their time, and their own tonality and stuff, and just roll with it.
So good, bro. One of my favorite quotes has become, It's by a guy named Andre Gide. He's a French writer. And he says, everything that needs to be said has already been said.
For sure.
But since no one was listening, say it again.
Coaching is like that. I took this year off, but I was in the Corps for 5 years. Some of the best people I ever met, changed the course of my career. Some of the sharpest, brightest individuals I've ever met in this country and industry. Their stuff isn't a magic wand. It's a lot of consistency. Say it again with a little spin and change here and there. But because the profitability through accountability piece is weaved into it, the accountability pieces, people are pushing you and holding you. Where in our business, lender, agent, coaching, or whatever, sometimes it's an idea, but execution, so the accountability piece lacks, and then people get distracted and things here and there. It's what I don't love about our industry. The society and consumer deserves a better version of it. It's also what I love about my competition, because it's not hard to beat, because I know if I'm shooting videos and doing this to get it all done, if somebody else is trying to keep up, it's not close. What also fast forwarded for me, just FYI, remember this, COVID fast forwarded me to do it all. So when I was kind of like turning the corner stuff here and there, blah, 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 things froze up, no face-to-faces, no happy hour, lunch or whatever, the digital space cranked even harder. So I had to up my game to make sure I could connect with more people, because that's what everyone was doing, get it all going. So I turned that piece up as well. And that was not only through video, that was technology and Salesforce and texting and things. And then I started to embed personal videos in the, hey, your loan disclosures, this is what it means, blah, blah, blah. So I started doing video tutorials inside of my workflow rules, because people connected to the video better. But I can also say it better of like, your loan submitted to an underwriter. I'm like, that person is the judge. They're just going to look over what we've done so far. They're going to check the box. We're 70% done. Boom, 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 on to the next. So outside of the social video piece, people can do instruction, education piece embedded in their milestones or whatever. So that way, if you're a little confused on the language or whatever, you can explain it. Like when you and I go to a doctor and they're like, oh, you're trifibia, blah, 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 whatever. You're like, you mean my elbow? Yeah. Sorry. Right. So you can do all that. And also people connect with you better than an email. If Kyle's smiling and saying like, here's the next step, blah, blah, blah. It just plays in so many ways, bro. And you and I know, and I wish people would just like, I wish they would see the lights, run their race, find their timing, find their space. But I just don't understand, especially in an industry like ours, that's just riddled with anxiety and chaos and noise everywhere. Dude, that video can act as a lightsaber in so many ways and just slay some of the problems. So
true. So with your team, because you're always growing, right? That's the beauty of having a brand like you do, is you don't have to recruit hardly anybody, because people are always requesting to be a part of what you're doing. So when you've got, I don't want to necessarily say a new LO, but let's just say an LO that may be new to social media.
Yeah.
What is that kind of first thing that you're coaching them through? They're uncomfortable with video. What do the first couple steps look like based on now your success with it to help them get their feet wet?
Yeah. So most people that are attracted to come talk to our team or work, they're already excited about the playbook. So I don't have to sell them, which is nice. Right. So if I'm attracted to Golden State, I know it's a fast team that shoots threes from the parking lot. It's not a slow defensive team that like passes the ball to Shaq every time. Different playbook. Our playbook is social stuff here. And so people that see it, like it, they realize the value in it, and they're like, I want to be part of that in my own way. So the people that are attracted to it, I don't have to sell it. Now, to your point, how to get started, a starter kit. Yeah. So we just walk through like, hey, where are you at? What do you want to do? What are you struggling with? Blah, 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 blah. Then I have like, oh, the same thing. Hey, so what you're going to do this week is 3. I'm going to get you a little camera, a little light. You're going to go in a corner. Here's your script, blah, 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 blah. You're going to do all this, blah, blah, and you're just going to copy my stuff or say something here and there. You have to do it. It's not an option. Do it, the team will edit, send it back. And we're going to drop it. And over time, you realize it's like, and then there people start commenting here and there. And then it's like the hunger for more, right? To get it all rocking. So I let people push and pull where they want. They can't stay in park. You got to at least be in first gear. I love you to be in fifth like I am, but we'll work your way up to get it all rocking. But people are already wanting that. So I don't have to say like, this is the way. I just have to like make it where they can get comfortable with it.
Well, but what I love about what you said is you glazed through it. So many people could miss this, but you said, it's not an option.
Correct.
And I just, I need to introduce you to this person too. Her name's Courtney. She's a realtor in Dallas, Fort Worth. She's got like 2.5 million likes on TikTok. I just interviewed her on my podcast last week, and her story is in January, she just made the commitment that I'm doing 2 TikToks every day. That was her commitment. And she said, Kyle, because I made that commitment, the day didn't end without me recording 2 TikToks, and they could have been horrible. And some of them have been, but I was working that muscle. And I think that's if we could just get people to listen to this episode and just go, okay, I get it. I'm going to suck at first. I'm going to stutter. I'm going to forget what to say. I'm going to look stupid. I'm going to have a booger in my nose. Right. I did a video one time where I picked my dog up. She peed all over me. Right. And I'm live on camera. And so that stuff happens, but it's our commitment. I think what you and I do better than most is it's no longer an option.
Correct.
And it just makes the decision so much easier.
Because I try to think what's best for the business and get past my emotion. So the more that you do that, the easier it is to do it again. Everybody's uncomfortable in areas. Growth is part of life. I mean, I'm on stage with Sirhant August 18th in front of 500 agents. I'm concerned about holding that stage, but I'm not going. Just like if you're concerned about that first video, you're not shooting it. Right. And so the thing is, you got to have that mindset. You got to have some help. You got to have some push, but you got to do it. It's not an option. Here's a great quote. Again, we'll throw Gary Vee back into it. So someone was talking about technology, and he said, technology will never replace human beings, but it will replace human beings that refuse to evolve with it. It's such a good quote. It's the same thing with video. It'll never replace human beings, but it's going to replace the human beings that refuse to evolve with it. And the new wave of people, like I'm 41, so I'm kind of really good in the middle. Like I can still kick it and hang with a 29-year-old about YouTube, or I can talk to somebody's dad and shake hands and go old school and power call. I'm a blend of both, right? But the new school of people think through the video way. The old school of people feel like it's lower than them. Both of them are right and wrong. So what you have to do is they each have to find their zone. So if it's a 59-year-old person on the way out, they can shoot database stuff here and there. The new school people will fire off here and there. But to your point, it's not an option. You have to evolve. And for the people out there that want more business and want more brand and want to scale and want to grow, blah, 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 dude, video is one of the trump cards in the game to separate yourself, create time, compound your time, and separate yourself and build your brand.
Come on, bro. Just preaching.
It's just, and I'm not selling it. I'm just saying, like, dude, I'm like everybody else. I just work my way up, call the phones, messed up, blah, blah, blah. The video thing, same thing. This video stuttering. I just work my way up, and you'll get over that hump. And then you realize, something's here. Society's listening. It's actually helping. And then you start to just pour fuel on the fire mentally, and then it feeds itself. And then you get to where, like, I've got a YouTube studio in my office now. I've got a podcast in the office. Why? Time. I want to be able to pop in there all the time and shoot all the time here and there. But also now, instead of me doing it, I invite realtors in, divorce attorneys, businesses. So now it's a place for them to come in, hang out and chill, and it's a plug and play type deal.
I need to come shoot in there.
You need to. Let's roll.
So last thing I want to talk to you about, because I follow all your stuff. I see all your stuff. I try to literally like every video because you're my boy and I want you to feel supported and loved. Not that you're not getting that from your almost 80,000 followers already, but it's interesting to me. Like, I'm on your TikTok right now, and your 3 most viewed videos are the least edited
correct
of all of your newest videos, right? Like your newest content, when people go look, I just watched your video. I think it literally, cause it doesn't even have 100 plays yet. Cause I think you literally put it up like not even an hour ago.
Somebody did. I didn't.
So it is freaking sick, right? You're talking about brand, and it's flashing up images of LeBron, and it is such a dope video, but it will probably never get the viewership of your 3 just very raw videos. And so how, like, do you try to balance like having that really polished, like sick looking edit, but also not lose the, here I am just in the office posted up?
I love that you asked this question because people are going to say, well, I don't have a 3-camera crew to cut and put like, you know, something in the background, blah, blah, blah. So one of the things I'm actually going back to is more raw video. Okay. A few reasons. One, when you start playing with video, you start playing with the algorithm of like, does it like me and Kyle straight up, or does it like me like staged Hollywood? Okay. Some platforms like some stuff more than others. The other thing is too, raw video is free and it's now.
Right.
I ain't gotta like put on a button up and a blazer and do a little spray tan and figure it out, blah, 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 whatever.
I love that.
The other piece about it, it's real, meaning that like, yes, I'm sure people like some of the stuff that I do professional here and there, but if I'm always just like super edit cut here and there, blah, 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 it's too distant. And so I'm going back to that. So if you look at, maybe not on TikTok, maybe, but on Instagram, the other day, I've got this background, but I'm shooting for a different deal. And it talks about marry the house, date the rate. I shot it raw just because I'm testing TikTok and some other stuff. And it got like 23,000 views on Instagram. And it was 45 seconds of saying like, hey, what's up? Marry the house, date the rate, blah, 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 blah type deal. So I'm testing some stuff to see from the platform standpoint. I'm also getting back to the fact that, to your point, I don't want to be too edited and professional here and there. Yes, it looks good, but it's not always relatable. Right. And I don't want people to feel like, dude, I can't get up and get it all done. I'm still real here and there. So I'm working on those. I'm getting back to them. You'll see more of them, but I want them to be off the cuff here and there. And so I like a blend to make sure that people don't feel like what I'm doing and me, this is as out of reach. It's not. Yeah. It's the same thing as you. I happen to invest a little more money and time in it because I love it. I think it's good here and there. And so I bought a new light and I got a thing. It's just a brick by brick, but the organic stuff is great. It's raw. It's real. It's free. It's now. And it's the easiest.
I love it. So good, bro. All right. Last thing, because I'm selfish and I want to know what source do you pull like most of your motivation from? Is it books, podcasts, other people's videos? What does that look like for you?
You mean my motivation to like be inspired to work hard, or like my motivation to like put out on videos?
Let's do both.
Okay.
Yeah.
So some of my motivation for what I do, I deep down in my heart have a Tom Brady, you passed on me in the draft chip on my shoulder. Okay. So that's a secret. Okay. So when I was younger, going through mortgage companies and talking to people, executive, blah, 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 people would fight me on the idea of like, do it this way, put a text in it because this, or like, I'm not going to take this loan because it's, you know, Kyle's a VIP realtor, blah, blah, blah. And I always had to do what I call fight the tide. I had to explain to people, no, the street doesn't work like that. The people don't work like that. You got to do this. Let's add some video, blah, blah, blah. So for a long time, I fought against others, not physically, but mentally of like, you know, pick up the phone, do this, say do whatever, blah, blah, blah. And it took me forever to like get through those people, get to my own place, get in my own chair, have a wonderful company, give me the opportunity to say, we believe in you, we see it roll. So now that I've rolled and most of the stuff that I had when I was younger, it's starting to go. Yeah. Texting and workflow rules and video and stuff here and there, blah, blah, blah. So there's a part of me that says, I just want to win 10 rings. I told you so, not in a prideful way, but like, you didn't pick me as your quarterback.
Yeah.
You thought you knew better. You passed on me and my ideas, so I'm going to run it up.
I love it.
That's the first piece.
Okay.
Second piece is I want to provide for my wife and my kid. I want to make sure that they are happy. I want to make sure we have financial freedom. I want to live a better life with them and not have them have to fight the things that financial problems cause in life here and there. So it's my obligation to maximize the opportunity that I have. The mortgage business and the real estate business is a hidden gem. You can be super successful.
Yeah.
You can make good money. You can change lives. You can beat the status quo. Our industry is like going to the gym and getting in shape. No one is in your way. So if you want to go 7 for 7, 2 hours, protein shakes, whatever, no one's capping you. In our industry, no one's capping you. So I also feel that I want to maximize my potential, talent, whatever. So part of that hunger is the desire to change the status quo in the industry to get more people moving this way.
Yeah.
And the other part is, I remember when you passed on me. I'm not tired yet.
I love it. And so I want to use this last moment to preach to the listeners, because guys, I think a lot of you would say what he said, right? I want to do this for my family. I mean, that's my why, obviously, as a husband and a father. And so my question to you guys as we end this episode is, if that's true, why is your list so long of what you're unwilling to do? Take that with you. Go marinate on that, because if we're truly in this fight for the reasons we say we are, man, our butts would be doing a whole lot more than we're currently doing in more areas than just video.
Yep.
But it's powerful stuff, bro. Thanks for coming on the show.
Okay, I got you next. Wallet Watch, you come on next month. I'm gonna flip it. We'll do it again.
Come on.
Do something different.
Dude, I love it. So tell everybody, how do they find you?
Social, Dallas Mortgage Man. Website, Dallas Mortgage News.
I love it.
Like, follow, share, copy. I
Come
don't
on.
care. Just go put eyeballs on it.
Good stuff, bro. You're the best, man. Thanks for all your wisdom.
Thank you, brother. I'll have you on. I'll see you in August.
Yes, sir. Guys, this has been another episode of the Social Media Mindset. If you get value from this, go leave a review. Go let the algorithms know that this is a great show providing value to this industry. And I don't know if it's possible, but we're going to do our best to come back next week with, they won't be as cool as Brian, but maybe their story's legit. You know, you'll have to wait and see.